Before we start tonight, I need you to do something for me. Get somewhere comfortable. If you're driving, maybe save this one for when you're parked. And if you're alone in the house right now, go ahead and leave a light on somewhere. You'll thank me later. This story came to me through my submission inbox about 6 weeks ago. A young woman, 20 years old, college junior, wrote me a message that was so detailed, so specific, so completely unembellished that I actually sat with it for 3 days before I could figure out how to tell it. Most people who send me stories want to make them bigger. She just wanted someone to believe her. Her name is Sarah Mitchell. She's from a small town outside of Houston. She's studying nursing, which tells you something about the kind of person she is: practical, observant, not easily rattled. She grew up riding in her dad's truck on long hauls during summers and school breaks, so rest stops, truck lots, and dark highways were never something that scared her. They were just part of life. Until one Friday night in March, on a long flat stretch of I-10 just west of San Antonio. This is her story, told as close to her own words as I can get it. My dad, Dave, has been a long-haul trucker for going on 23 years. People think it's a lonely job. He thinks it's the best job in the world. He knows every fuel stop, every way station, every decent diner between Houston and El Paso. He knows which rest areas have good lighting and which ones don't. He knows things about American highways that most people will never know, and he carries all of it like it's completely ordinary. Because to him, it is. I've been riding with him since I was about 9 years old. Summer trips, mostly. Sometimes a weekend run when I needed to clear my head. There's something about being in that cab. The height of it, the hum of the engine, the way the country just opens up flat and endless at night, that always made me feel safe. Like nothing bad could reach you up there. We left Houston on a Friday evening around 8. Dad had a refrigerated load going to a distribution center outside of Las Cruces, due by Saturday morning. Straight shot west on I-10. 6, maybe 7 hours depending on stops. I had a coffee, a bag of trail mix, a playlist I've been building for weeks, and absolutely zero intention of sleeping. Dad, on the other hand, intended to drive until he couldn't anymore and then sleep like a man with a completely clear conscience, which he always does because he is genuinely the most straightforward human being I have ever met. Around 1:15 in the morning, just past the western edge of San Antonio, he pulled into a rest area off the highway. It was one of those big Texas ones. Wide lot, multiple rows, a long brick facilities building in the center with that particular kind of fluorescent light that turns everything slightly greenish. There were maybe 25 trucks in the lot. A few passenger cars near the front. The usual quiet of a highway stop at 1 in the morning. Dad found a spot in the second row, cut the engine, leaned his seat back, crossed his arms, and was asleep in under 3 minutes. I've timed it before. It's almost a skill. I was nowhere near tired. I sat with my playlist going, phone in hand, watching the lot through the passenger window. One of those nights where your mind won't slow down no matter what you do. I had a silver ring on my right hand, my mom's, passed down, and I kept turning it around my finger the way I do when I can't settle. Eventually, I needed to use the restroom. The building was maybe 50 yards across the lot. Lit up, visible, completely normal looking. I'd walked into 100 of these. I checked that my phone was charged, grabbed it, and stepped down from the cab as quietly as I could. The air outside was cool for Texas in March, dry and still. My sneakers were quiet on the pavement. The lot hummed with idling engines and overhead light. I walked straight to the building, straight inside, and straight back out in less than 3 minutes. I was pulling the exit door open when I felt it before I saw it. That specific feeling. The one that doesn't have a name, but that every woman knows. The feeling of being watched by someone who isn't supposed to be watching you. He was standing about 10 feet from the door. Tall, well over 6 feet. A long dark jacket. Something heavy. Hood pushed partway up even though it was a clear night. Dark pants with deep pockets. Black boots. And his skin. I noticed it immediately because the green-white fluorescent light above the door hit him directly was wrong. Too pale. The kind of pale that looks like an absence rather than a complexion. Like the light was passing through him rather than bouncing off. He wasn't doing anything. That was the thing that locked my feet for just a half second. No phone. No cigarette. Nobody was waiting for anywhere nearby. He was just standing there, still as a post, looking at me with an expression that had absolutely nothing in it. Not curiosity, not interest, not aggression, nothing. I pulled my eyes away, tucked my chin, and walked. Not fast, purposeful. My dad's voice in my head from every safety conversation we'd ever had. Don't run. Don't look back. Move like you know exactly where you're going, and nothing in the world is going to stop you. I got about 30 yards before I looked back. He was behind me, not running, not even walking fast, just moving, unhurried, steady, covering the distance between us with the kind of patience that made my stomach drop straight through the pavement. Like he had done this before. Like he had all the time in the world because he already knew how it ended. I turned back around and I walked the last 20 yards like my life depended on it, because some part of me had already decided it might. I got to the truck, got the door open, got myself up and inside, and locked it in one motion. Then I reached across my sleeping dad and locked his side too. I sat back against the seat and looked in the mirror. He had stopped in the middle of the lot, standing completely still between two rows of trucks facing our cab, not moving toward us anymore, just standing there, watching, like he'd made a decision to wait. I don't know how long I sat there watching him in that mirror before he started walking again. Toward us, slow and steady, crossing the lot like he had a perfectly reasonable explanation for everything. I grabbed my dad's shoulder. Dad, wake up. There's a man outside and something is wrong. Dave Turner is not a man who wakes up confused. 23 years of highway driving means you learn to go from asleep to alert in about 2 seconds flat, because sometimes 2 seconds is what you have. He was upright and scanning before I finished the sentence. And then we heard it. 3 knocks on his window. Not frantic, not aggressive. Measured like someone knocking on an office door. 1, 2, 3. The man was standing right outside the driver's glass. Close enough that his breath would have fogged it if the night had been colder. Up close, his face was worse than it had been at a distance. His eyes had something wrong with them that I still can't describe precisely. Not the color, not the shape, just the quality of them. Like the lights were on and nothing was home. Like someone had drawn eyes on a mask. His lips moved. Sorry to bother you, he said. Voice even. Almost pleasant. My rig's broken down on the far end of the lot. I just need someone to call in for me. Won't take a minute. My dad looked at the man's hands. Dad reached forward and started the engine. The Peterbilt turned over with that deep, shuddering growl, and the dashboard lit up amber. Sir, my dad said through the closed window, voice flat and final, we've called the police. You need to move away from the vehicle. The man tilted his head slightly, just a degree or two, like a dog hearing a sound it doesn't recognize. Then he placed his palm against the window. Open hand, fingers spread, pressed flat to the glass. Gentle, patient, and he smiled. I have seen a lot of things in 20 years. I grew up watching horror movies. I work in a hospital on weekends. I have seen real suffering up close. Nothing I have ever seen has stayed with me the way that smile stayed with me. Because it was not an angry smile, and it was not a threatening smile. It was calm and wide and completely, surgically disconnected from his eyes, which didn't move, didn't warm, didn't change by a single degree. It was the smile of someone who wasn't performing patience. Someone who actually had it. Dad pulled out. Slow, deliberate, no drama. The kind of exit that says I am not afraid of you, and I am not rushing on your account. The man stood in the lot and watched us go. Palm still up, still smiling. Didn't move a muscle until we were out of the lot and back on the highway. We drove 50 miles before Sarah spoke. She said quietly, his hands. Her dad nodded once. Yeah. She never asked what he meant. She's still not sure she wants to know. She called the rest area from the highway, gave a description, and was told someone would check it out. She called back 20 minutes later. They hadn't found anyone matching the description. The lot, they said, was clear. Her dad kept driving with both hands on the wheel and the radio off. 3 weeks later, Sarah mentioned it to a friend who works as a civilian contractor with a county sheriff's department in Central Texas. She described the man, the jacket, the cargo pants, the boots, the complexion, the way he stood, the way he knocked, the way he smiled. Her friend stopped her mid-description. We're exactly on I-10, Sarah told her. The friend was quiet for a moment. Then, don't post about this. Don't put it on social media. But there have been other reports. that stretch of highway, and a few others. Always truck stops or rest areas. Always late at night. Always someone alone. Sarah asked the question that had been sitting in her chest for 3 weeks. She asked what he wanted, what he was actually trying to do if someone had opened that door or rolled down that window. Her friend said, "The people who did, we haven't been able to get a clear account from any of them." She didn't explain what that meant. She didn't have to. Sarah Mitchell is finishing her junior year. She's going to be a good nurse, the kind who notices things other people miss, who reads a room before she walks into it, who trusts what her body tells her even when her brain hasn't caught up yet. She still rides with her dad. She told me she always will. But she doesn't walk across a dark parking lot alone anymore. Not at 1 in the morning. Not ever. If you're traveling tonight, anywhere, any highway, any hour, trust the feeling before you need the reason. Lock the doors. Wake up the person next to you. You don't owe a stranger an explanation for your instincts. And if someone knocks 3 times on your window in the middle of the night, slow, patient, polite, don't roll it down. Don't open the door. Just drive. If something has happened to you on the road, something that didn't make sense, something that stayed with you longer than it should, send it to me. Link is in the description. I read every single submission. Every one. And if this story is going to keep you up tonight, good. Stay awake. I'll see you next time.